Hi Sandhurst, greetings from Sydney. I'm Ruth, one of the members for Sandhurst for the Plenary Council, and the second assembly has finished earlier today. And I thought that I would offer my reflections for the week that we've just had from my hotel room, where I am positively looking forward to a week of COVID retreat, post-plenary council retreat while I isolate. If you've been watching, you'll have seen that I came down with COVID on Wednesday and so have not been able to attend in person since then. I'm doing fine, by the way, a little bit nasally, but otherwise I'm doing fine. But I was able to participate from about Wednesday afternoon onwards online. So this was my my plenary council space for the rest of the week. And while I'm disappointed and I'm very, very sad, because one of the most amazing parts of being a part of this has been journeying with the other members. So I'm very disappointed I wasn't in the room and able to continue on with my table group, who were wonderful. I had some really great conversations at the start of the week with my in-person table group, but then was able to join an online group who were equally as wonderful. So I have been able to fully participate and only missed one session just because I woke up and was feeling unwell, which was the session where everything went a little bit crazy, I suppose. It was the session where the votes came in on Wednesday. The deliberative votes came in around part 4, the equal dignity of men and women, or women and men as it is actually written. I wasn't there. I wasn't able to take part in any of that conversation, but I can speak to the fact that that was resolved, and there is a beautiful new chapter to replace the original one that was able to be negotiated and prayed with and discerned in a really beautiful manner. And I think the organisers, the Vice President of the Plenary Council, Bishop Shane, did an incredible job alongside Audrey, the facilitator on Wednesday, Audrey Brown, who you might know. There was just a really wonderful and positive feeling from people who were in the room and myself online in the afternoon, that people's hurt was listened to in an incredible manner. And what that did was able to move us forward. And as a plenary council, I feel that we are all much happier with the outcome than we would have been prior to that happening. The disruption really moved it forward, and I think in a really positive way. I think what it also did, and this is where I see a lot of hope, and some people were really disheartened when that part got voted down, and I agree. I was very, very upset. I was very upset by it. But what I actually see it as is that was voted down, and it came as a huge shock to a lot of people, which has opened maybe some people's, including some of the bishops' eyes that didn't think women were treated differently or differently outside of ordination in our church. And this has maybe helped them understand that there is a bigger issue that needs to be dealt with about the equal dignity of women and men in our church, particularly in our Australian context. And I see that there is a commitment in this part and in the proceedings from the Plenary Council to address this going into the future. And I don't think that the media attention around this fully captured that. It wasn't all to do with the female ordination or the female diaconate, although it did get sort of wrapped up in that. But what I'm really, really hopeful is it's opened eyes to the bigger problem, and it will continue to be addressed. And that's probably what I'm most hopeful of right now. That's one thing, and it was obviously a big concern for me as a woman in the church and working for the church. But the rest of it, we got 100% of the bishops voting on some of the later parts, including overwhelming majority of bishops supporting the integral ecological conversion. I'm sorry, I'm still a little sick. I'm not going to edit this though. But we got some really strong support in the areas of formation and sacraments and opening up different ways of doing things. And I'm really excited about the implementation stage, because I think what we all need to remember, and it maybe is easier for us as members to accept this because we've gone on this journey. This is this is part 2, the assemblies, of a 3-part process. And we still have part 3 to come, which is the implementation. And the final document that we are actually really happy with, or as far as we know, because we haven't seen the final draft of the decrees and all those kind of things. But the final document is one that empowers us to be creative and flexible in how we put this out into the world, how we follow through and move forward as a church in Australia, as a diocese and as a parish. It's not too prescriptive and it's not too loose. It's going to move us forward, and that's really, really exciting. I think some of the things that I am most joyful about are the conversations I've had with people. And one of the bishops who I spoke to at the start of the week said that he had been blind and maybe deaf to the experiences of some people, including women, after I had shared about my experience of a woman in the church. That was an incredible moment. Another thing is seeing the young people, the young members who are at that plenary council at the assembly, who worked together and supported each other and stood together, and it was just really beautiful to watch that, but also the older members supporting them and giving them a voice, and that was beautiful as well. And the other thing is some of the things that got through and that may have been lost in the reports that you've seen. Things like we have acknowledged in our document the identity, the self-identity for many people, many Catholics within the world. We've acknowledged that they identify as LGBTQI+, and that is a wonderful thing that our document actually refers to them in a way that they would choose to refer to themselves mostly. That is a huge, huge thing that we have acknowledged that in this document. And there are so many other things, but there is a commitment to the Laudato Si action plan, and there is a commitment to the Light of the Southern Cross report on church governance. There is a commitment to more women in governance where appropriate, where possible. There is a shift in understanding of the difference between governance and ordination. And that's still flowing through, and we've got to give it time. And as we were said, sorry, this is a little long, but as Archbishop Tim Fisher said at the end, we have to allow for time for this to be promulgated. There's still the decrees to actually be written properly. They've got to pull them out of the report that we've, the motions. They've got to pull them out, put them in a new document. They have to get the bishops to sign off on it again, which will be towards the end of November. And then from there, it has to be sent off to the Vatican. So this next stage of promulgation before the decrees are official will take about 12 months, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. But we've got some time to read and reflect on this before they become law for the Australian Church. And that is really great as well, because I'm looking forward to the conversations we can have about what this means for us in Sandhurst. So thank you for all the prayers and the kind wishes that I've received and that the other members have received as well. We appreciate everything, every word of, every prayer and every word of support and everything. I really appreciate the people who reached out to me after they knew that I was sick. So thank you. I apologise for a little bit of brain fog maybe, but really, really looking forward to the next stage of implementation of the Plenary Council, not just for the whole country, but specifically for our diocese. And I look forward to having conversations with you all as we start processing what this might look like. And bring your ideas. Let's re-energise and enter this new stage with hope and all this love for our church as well. So thank you, and I will catch you all back at home when my retreat finishes. Bye.